What the fuck is up, YouTube? If you don't know me already, my name is Ciara. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I have filmed this video like 3 times, and every time I film it, I hate it. So instead of like looking at my notes for this video or whatever, I'm just going to speak off the top of my head this time and just kind of let emotions pour out, because I really don't know how else to film this video. Like, I've tried so many different things and they all just like don't fucking work. But before I start this video, I would like to say that this story time slash get to know me slash tea of my life, I guess, is not an easy video for me to make. It has not been an easy video to film. I cried the first time filming it. Yeah, so I would just like to let you guys know that this is very emotional for me. So I have a mimosa. It is 4 p.m. I guess that's not that early. The only way for me to really talk about this situation, especially to my camera and like alone in my house, you know, is to like have a drink while I'm doing it, because it is very emotional and it was an actual moment of my life. So, cheers. And that's how I feel about that. So for those that don't know me, I got married at Tanacon 2.5 years ago in 2018. It was a big moment of my life. It was pretty much the start of my YouTube like thing and meeting a lot of new people that I'm now friends with. It was how a lot of you guys know me now. Nobody really knew me before. And I know that a majority of my followers on YouTube and Twitter are from that moment of my life. So I owe y'all an explanation. You guys have wanted to hear this fucking story for years. My editor literally messaged me after my Q&A video that I sent her, because I had a couple questions about Tanacon in it that I answered. And she was like, yeah, I'm cutting these out because you need to just film a whole video on it. And I was like, all right, cool. So here I am, I'm doing it. So, question 1, how it started. How did this become a thing? Why did I get married at Tanacon? How did I get married at Tanacon? I lived in Chicago at the time with my boyfriend, David. And we honestly never really got engaged. It was kind of a spur of the moment decision. That day that I posted on Twitter, he bought me a promise ring from Pandora. It was a cute little promise ring. It was pricey, and I was like, oh my god, we're engaged, LOL. Like, it was a joke. We had been together for a year. I posted on Twitter that night. We lived in different states at the time, actually. He lived in Chicago, I lived in Michigan. I would drive there every weekend to see him. Anyway, I drove back to Michigan that night and I posted on Twitter a picture of us downtown Chicago with the ring on my finger and was like, hey Tana Mojo, can I get married at Tanacon? Or can we get married at Tanacon? It was like kind of a fucking joke. Like, we weren't even officially engaged. We had talked about it. We had, you know, said like we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together and like this is it. But we never really, I never was proposed to, okay? But I posted that, and I went to bed, and I woke up in the morning to a shit ton of notifications on Twitter, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, at this moment in time, I probably had like 100, 200 followers on Twitter. Like, literally nobody knew me, except for like the people in our hometown or whatever. And Tana had responded to my tweet and was like, dead ass yes. And I was like, holy shit. And then I had DMs from Tana, Michael Weist, and Good Times, all saying, do you actually want to do this? Are we really gonna make this happen? If so, message us back, email us, etc. So I called David immediately, and I was like, David, I just got, you know, a tweet from Tana, like, she wants us to get married at Tanacon. How fucking dope would that be? David knew how obsessed I was with Tana. He knew I was obsessed with, wow, hello, English. How obsessed I was with like YouTube and like that whole community. And like, he kind of vibed with it as well. Like, he liked those people as well. Obviously he wasn't as obsessed as I was, but he knew of everybody and like had watched their videos, whatever. So he was like, wow, that's insane. Like, that's so cool. He went and looked at my Twitter and was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then he was like, let's do it. did my camera just move? So he was like, oh my God, let's do it. And I responded to all of my DMs and I was like, yes, we're down, he's down, let's do it. So now I'm officially engaged. I don't even know how it happened, off a tweet apparently. Never was proposed to, it was never a real like engagement. We were engaged for like 3 weeks before we got married. So basically how the whole thing went down was I talked to Tana and then I talked to Jordan because Tana was always too busy. So Jordan called me a few times and was like, hey, who do you want to be in your wedding? Who do you want to marry you? Are you going to hire your own minister? Is your family coming? You have to pay for all of your flights. You have to pay for your own hotel room, etc., etc. And I was like, damn, this is gonna be a lot more expensive than I thought. At the time, we were broke, like as fuck. David worked in Chicago. I lived with my parents, and when he was working in Chicago, like his company paid for his rent and everything. Like it was dope. So we were broke, but I told my parents about everything and they paid for our plane tickets to go to LA. I would like to point out that my parents have never loved a man more than they've loved David, and they still do. Like absolutely obsessed with the man. Have always said from day one, like, this is it. He's the most amazing person you'll ever meet. Nobody will treat you the way that he's treated you. He's amazing, like you should get married. I'm already tearing up. This is a great video, we're 7 minutes in. So they paid for our plane tickets to go to LA. I called Jordan and I was like, hey, we're on our way, we're coming. I booked the hotel. I would like someone to marry us that's not a real minister. I think it would be more fun that way. So he was like, okay, well, Tana's down to get ordained. I was like, that's insane, that'd be dope. But I messaged Lena the Plug because I've always been obsessed with her and was like, hey, would you get ordained to marry us? Because also, I knew Tana probably wouldn't end up doing it. So I like messaged Lena and I was like, she'll do it. You know, she's 27. She's a little bit more mature and like got her shit together. And Lena messaged me back like 2 days later and was like, I'm ordained. And I was like, okay, dope. So Lena officially married us. Tana was like the minister sidekick, I guess. Also just like the host of the wedding at that point. And we got Amari, Aaron, and Elijah to be our groomsmen, and then I had Ashley and Bella as my bridesmaids, and then Emma Chamberlain was my fucking flower girl. That was a surprise from Jordan. I had no idea that Emma Chamberlain was gonna be my flower girl. He literally told me the day before we got there that she was going to be, and I was like, ah! I loved her so much. I still do. She's also the nicest, most sincere person in real life that I've ever met. Shane Dawson was originally supposed to walk me down the aisle. That is a true story. He ended up not coming because of the amount of people that were there, and he had like social anxiety like a motherfucker, which I totally understand. So Adam22 walked me down the aisle instead, which is Lena's husband or boyfriend. I don't know if they're married or not. Anyway, so let's just like skip to it because I don't want to make this a long video. I want you guys to just get the tea and then move on. I just want to move on. We arrived in LA on the 21st. The wedding was on the 23rd, the first day of Tanacon. We got there on Thursday. The Tanacon started Friday, okay? We had a rehearsal with Lena and Jordan. We talked to Lena for like hours about how she wanted to go about the wedding, how we wanted to go back about the wedding, etc. We used my engagement ring as the wedding ring, my engagement ring. And then I bought a ring for David from like Kohl's because we were broke, like I said. I would like to point out that my parents did not come, my sister did not come, his family didn't come. Like it was literally just me and him and then a bunch of YouTubers that we have never met in real life until this moment. So it was like a really weird, crazy experience, but at the same time it was so real for us. I will enunciate again that we were like in love. We actually wanted to get married. We genuinely thought we were spending the rest of our lives together. I have never loved someone as much as I have loved that man. I don't think I ever will. So that morning we got up, obviously. Our wedding was at like 1 p.m. or something on the main stage. The wedding happened. You guys have all seen that footage, or most of you have. If you haven't, there's a video on my channel that Sammy made me post and I really didn't want to, but like, that's part of my life, so it's there. We got married. We said I do. Everything was legal. Me and David got papers from the state of California to sign. Amari and Aaron were our witnesses. Lena was the minister. She had all of her paperwork. Everything was legit, okay? We did everything right. After leaving California in Tanacon, we went back to Chicago. We talked about it a little bit, and to make a marriage officially legal, you have to mail in your paperwork to the state where you got married. So we would have to mail it back to California and basically just turn it in. Once you turn it in, you're married. In the eyes of the law, you are married, that's it. And we could have done that, but we didn't, because Tanacon was an absolute shit show, and I don't say that lightly. Our wedding was awesome. Obviously, it was a little like over the top, and like all of these YouTubers were there, and obviously all of the like spotlight was on the YouTubers, and like we knew that was going to happen. But at the same time, like when we got back to Chicago, we talked about it, and we're like, our wedding should just be about us, you know? It should not be about other people and publicity and celebrity and etc., etc. And our wedding was the last main event at Tanacon before it got shut down. And like to us, it was just a shit show. After it got shut down, me and David went upstairs to like the creator floor, and Tana was like crying and upset, and Jordan was freaking the fuck out, and all of her friends were just drinking, and me and David were like, this is supposed to be a party, this is supposed to be our like reception, this is supposed to be fun. And we ended up just getting shit-faced ourselves and just chilling in the Fanjoy lounge like for hours after our wedding. It wasn't, you know, the best wedding in the world, and like we didn't expect that, but at the same time we just didn't want to make that legal. We actually planned to have a real wedding in April of 2019. It was supposed to be on 4/20 of 2019. I even have a little picture frame of us and our wedding date on it that his mom made for us for Christmas. It was really cute. So yeah, our wedding was real, but also not real, if that makes sense. We never got legally married. I was never legally married. Still am not, okay? All right, I guess now everyone wants to know what happened with David and I. And I'm not gonna give too many details away. In May of 2019, I took David and my sister Lauren to Rolling Loud, Miami. Me and David were kind of on the outs at this point, but I had bought the tickets 3 months before, and we went together anyway. Our relationship definitely progressed while we were in Miami. I thought things were getting better and everything was fine. And then when we got back from Miami, it was just the same again. We lived in a really shitty house in a really shitty area of town. I don't know, we were just always fighting over little stupid small things. I decided in July of 2019 to move to Idaho. We talked about maybe making long distance work and just seeing if distance helped our relationship. So we stayed together for maybe 2 weeks. When I was living in Idaho, we broke up. I think part of me knew we would always end up back together because it was like, it was David, you know, like my whole family was like, it's David, like it's always been David, you know. We didn't talk for probably 4 months while I lived in Idaho, and then I came back home for Thanksgiving that year, and we connected again, started hanging out. We were just best friends. He's always been my best friend. Like, this man knows more about me than anybody in this entire world. He still does. And like, it was just fun. And I was like, this is what I miss in our relationship. So we talked a lot more after that trip. I came back for Christmas. We hung out for Christmas. We went to his family's Christmas. He came to my family's Christmas. Like, everything was just normal again. We love a cry on a YouTube video. So after Christmas, David actually drove back to Idaho with me for New Year's. And during that trip, we got stuck in North Dakota for 3 days because of snowstorm. They shut down the highways. It was really shitty, but looking back on it, that was like, looking back on that trip, that was probably one of my favorite memories that I have with David. Mostly just because we were stuck in the middle of fucking nowhere in a snowstorm at this little shitty Holiday Inn with a bar that was only open till 8 p.m. every night. no liquor stores around. We found one eventually. And we were just stuck in a hotel room for like 3 days, like pretty much just being best friends and just having a good time. Just us two. We ended up making it to Boise for New Year's Eve at 11 p.m. And we ended up getting takeout from Yard House and literally going back to my apartment, eating Yard House and watching the ball drop on TV instead of going out with our friends. And it was just fun. It was just like, this is what I miss about our relationship. Like, we used to do this shit all the time, like just him and I just having fun together, not fighting. And then after that, I decided to move back to Michigan to be with David. We decided to get back together. We were like, I don't know what we're doing. We're soulmates. Like, this is what, why did we ever break up in the first place? A little fight. That's so stupid. Let's work past it. So I moved back to Michigan. David helped me move back, packed up all my shit, sold the rest of my shit in Idaho, and drove back to Michigan with David, which was also fun. Road trips were, me and him together on a road trip, it's just always a good time. We moved back to Michigan and moved in with my parents because quarantine had just happened. So this was like February of 2020 of last year. We lived with my parents for like 3 months while we were waiting for our house to be built, because we got a house together. And then in March of 2020, we got a dog together. His name is Thor. He's so cute. You've probably seen him on my socials somewhere. Love that little thing. And we moved into this house that I'm in right now. And it was fully remodeled. Nobody had ever lived here after the remodel. It was our home, and we had a dog. We were like a family, okay? Everything was good for quite a while. And then in June, I believe it was June of last year, we broke up again for reasons that I will not disclose because they are very personal. I just don't see a reason to like throw anyone under the mud in this situation. I know you guys want to know like the full reason why we're not together anymore. It is personal and it hurts still. It's been 7 months and I'm still heartbroken over it, obviously. But yeah, we broke up, and we did try for a couple months after this situation happened. It was to the point, it's so hard to tell the story without telling you what happened. But at the same time, I just don't want to do that to somebody that I still care about so much. We tried for a couple more months, but it just didn't work out. Yeah, we broke up. He moved out, and I have the house, and he took the dog, and that's pretty much it. We don't talk that much anymore. He has like a full-ass new girlfriend, and I'm happy for him. He deserves that, and I am here. I will always look at that relationship as the only relationship that ever was like good for me. I've been in a few very toxic relationships, but David was never the person to ever like treat me like shit or do anything wrong, really. He was definitely the best person that I think I've ever met in my entire life. I do genuinely believe that we were soulmates. I think you can have multiple of them in your lifetime. He was my best friend. From the day that we met, I knew that he was like going to be in my life for a long time. This is really hard for me to film. Obviously, I'm very emotional. I think he'll always be my best friend, even though he doesn't feel the same way about me. I can't just let that go. Yeah, that's what happened. I'm single. He's not. We're not together. We haven't been together for like 6 months now. So I'm okay. I would like you guys to know that. I am okay. It's just hard for me to talk about because I really don't talk about it often. But so many of you guys have been asking about it. I literally got another message today about it, and I was like, okay, I'm filming the video today. I'm just gonna get it over with. But I want you guys to know that like I'm okay. I'm working on myself and being alone. I'm not used to being alone, so like it's just new for me. Losing a relationship is one thing, but like losing your best friend as well is another. And I think that was the hardest part for me because me and him spent literally every day together, like 24/7 together. So like not having him in my life now has just been a very difficult process for me. There's times in my day where I'm just like sad or just like need someone and I immediately just want to text him, you know? And that's not fair. I don't do that, but I want to. that's where I'm at in my life. I'm working on myself and I live alone. I have never lived alone in my life, so it's kind of a new thing that I'm trying to overcome, is being alone. I'm happy for him. I would like that to be known as well. I'm happy that he's happy. That's all I've ever wanted. I wish that it could have worked out between us, but I don't see us ever getting back together. There's just things in the relationship that just wouldn't work out. It sucks that we can't still be friends, but that was his decision, not mine. And I understand where he's coming from as well about that decision. It just sucks. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. So I'm just gonna end the video here. Now you guys know what happened to the most extent that I'm going to put out onto the internet. And that's that on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of emotional and I'm sorry for crying. It's just hard for me to talk about. I haven't talked about it in like 4 months. If you did enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below what you would like to see me film next or any other questions you have for me. I will answer any of them on Instagram or in a new video. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.